Hello again everyone, this is Singy from the Sanctum of the Soul, and today I've got this brand new book, the Illustrated Herbiary by Maya Toll, and I kind of found this book by accident because I was looking for scientific botany books on Amazon, and this came up in the suggested readings and it just really caught my eye. And yeah, so here we go. I've actually planned to upload the video a lot earlier, but the previous video I did disappeared somewhere into the cloud and I can't find it. So it's fine. It's probably a sign that I should be more succinct and concise this time. So yeah, here we go. So right off the bat, the book is gorgeous. See this metallic sheen on it, and I'm not sure if yeah, it is. And it says guidance and rituals from 36 bewitching botanicals. So that's amazing. And over here you see symbolism like the moon phases, so I'm hoping that this would be something more witchy, more Wiccan, but we'll see. Yeah, so it includes a set of 36 oracle cards, which are these. And the images are basically what you see in the book, so we'll get to that at the end. And here we go. Front page is gorgeous, and we'll see this image again. So there we go. And this is the contents page. We see the herbiary. So I like that there's this succinct summary of what the plant symbolizes in the contents page. Would have been better if it was arranged alphabetically, but it's fine. There are only 36 plants, so it doesn't take that long to find the one you want. Yeah, so the preface. Yeah. I want to gift you this sense of connection. So connection with the plant world may seem a small thing, but once you step into it, you realize it is profound and playful, granular and encompassing. Whether this is a first step on your journey into the green world or a reminder of magic you've come to know deeply, I hope this book, this herbiary, ignites your imagination, your passion, and your love for living in deep connection with the earth. As someone who, works with nature both physically and energetically, this kind of, it calls to me. So I really love the message already. And the introduction basically is how she came to, connect deeply with plants. And yeah, there is a line somewhere that I really like, and there we go. So she calls the spiritual side of her practice the second song. So the first song is the scientific principles behind plants and the medicinal uses and how they grow. So basically the science of herbology. And there we go. The first is the song of the chemicals, the notes science can see, which clearly say this plant goes with that disease. The other song is more subtle. It's the song of synchronicity and alignment, the deep sense of harmony and dialogue that happens when a person finds the right medicine for them in the moment. Something mystical and elixir, not only for the body, but for the soul as well. So, as someone who firmly believes in the amalgamation of science and spirituality, this really resonates with me. And yeah, here we go, the herbiary. So I'm going to do a brisk flip through of the entire book, and hopefully it won't take as long as the first video. Start fresh. So right off the bat we've got nice beginning, and it's chickweed. So you probably noticed that the plant doesn't really features so much in the image. It's more of an abstract, artistic kind of impression of the plant and its energies. So that's great. And here we've got the Latin scientific name. So chickweed sings of bright beginnings, welcoming you to your path. Tiny starlight flowers whisper its time. Not sure you already know, worries. So we've got these nice kind of semi-inspirational sound bitey kind of quotes. So that's nice. So what I'd have liked is for like she said, the first song, right? So we don't have any of that first song in here. I would really have liked that, some kind of scientific or even physical characteristics and properties of the plant. So that kind of ties in with its spiritual meaning, because I don't think that I do firmly believe that the spiritual meaning isn't something that we simply just ascribe to it. It has deep connections with its physical manifestations. Just like all of us, our energy signatures kind of manifest themselves in our physical bodies. So it has to be the same for plants as well. And I would really have liked to have some of that, just a brief, even a brief mention, a single paragraph, or even a little box here would have been great. Like, how do people use this plant? How, what diseases are the plant associated with? Things like that. So here we've got the ritual and the reflection. So I'm assuming that the reflection is for the meditation part, and the ritual is before the meditation to get you kind of tuned to the energy of the plant. Notice the micro world. That is amazing. Like, since I was, in my teenage years, I've been obsessed with, macro photography. And I'd always thought that macro photography, you take something tiny out of this sea of, a million different things, and you make it, important. And that's beautiful to me. And, you're taking something overlooked and, maybe insignificant even, and you're making it significant, and you're making people notice it, and that's a beautiful thing. So I really do like the message. And so in honor of chickweed, spend time noticing the micro world. Broaden your field of attention to include the tiny cotyledons pushing up in early spring and the flecks of mica or mica. I can never decide how to pronounce that word. Probably have to look that up. Decorating the face of a boulder. Notice the myriad spots on a butterfly's wings, the tiny seed-like capsules on the underside of a fern's leaf. So over here, the author's scientific training kind of shows itself in scientific words like cotyledons and, sorry. So this is kind of like a poetic, pastoral kind of imagery and prose, but I would really have liked to work with the plant itself. So there's no mention of how we use the plant, so it's all about honoring the plant and kind of like, sure, you're working with the energy by honoring it, but you're not actually using the plant. And I'm not so sure if all the plants here are non-toxic. I hope they're all non-toxic, but I don't know. So if they're all edible, herbs, I would have liked to have a small segment on how to use the plant. Because as a herbiary, we're not just meditating on the idea of the plant, but with the plant itself. I mean, that's the whole point of a herbiary. So that would have made the book much better. Because as you can see, that's it for every plant. So it's just a brief, kind of whimsical write-up, and then a ritual and a reflection. So look for little stars. It's easy to figure out the best way to move forward when life gives you big, fleshy signposts. But it can be harder when the path is mundane and mapped with only the smallest of lights. And a nice quote that my complicated life could be made so simple was astounding. So yeah, I kind of do like the message. Noticing the small things has kind of always been my thing. Even in my energetic practice, when I do fine tuning, I kind of look for small signs. So yeah, I love the message. But again, this would have been, prime time to kind of incorporate some part of the plant in it. Burn it as an incense. Make a tisane out of it, or a tea, something would have been much better. But still, it is a beautiful message. The daisy, be yourself. So I'm just going to do a brief flip through, because yeah, they're all about the same. So it's all the same structure, and it's a page each. So I'm not going to give away too much of the book. It's not going to be too fair to the author. So I'm just going to do a flip through of the images, and yeah, sweet violet and white sage. Dandelion. So yeah, I'm just, due to intellectual property, and I kind of don't want to give away the entire book, just out of simple respect. So what I'm going to do instead is flip through the cards, because all the images are there anyway, so that's probably the highlight of the book. So oh yes, so the cards come at the back in this plastic envelope, and it came in 9 sheets of 4 cards each, so you kind of have to separate the cards yourself. And so these are the cards, and you can see the little nubs here where the cards were attached to each other or one another. So I wasn't a fan of that. I don't like that my cards have these rough edges, and I was kind of terrified that I would tear something, because it seemed that way at times, and I don't like that I haven't got anywhere to keep this. So like, this belongs on a shelf and it fits perfectly with all your other books, but where do I keep this? So it would have been nice to have, have it come with a pouch or something, because I don't think it's very practical to be cramming 36 cards back in here every time you want to use the cards. So there's that. I have shuffled these cards already to do a reading in the previous video, so they're not going to be in order, but I'll just show you all the cards anyway. And as you can see, the cards kind of do have the tagline, so that's fine, and the colors are beautiful, and they kind of, well, apart from this one maybe, but they kind of do complement the overall energy and the aesthetic of the card, so that's great. Right, so the reishi. So this is one of the important medicinal herbs. Well, I don't know if you can call it a herb since it's a fungus, but it is one of the most popular or famous of Japanese, Chinese, and Korean medicine, and there was no mention of that at all anywhere in the book. No mention of the Eastern cultures where this is the most most widely used. So I'm gonna show this to you because this was something that stood out to me, and I didn't really like it. And it was in the previous video. This was the one that I had the most gripe with. So she's on page 136. So it's amazing that we've got more than 100 pages of this. Yeah, here we go. So it says defying gravity, and they're talking about how it's the Yoda of the plant world. Assimilate lives experiences and turn them into wisdom. Would have liked to see some kind of, Eastern reference instead of Yoda, which is so American and well, British. Yeah, and the most the thing that stood out to me most is how she's talking about the gravity-defying shelf, and that's the central idea behind both the reflection and the ritual. And even the write and burn part has roots in Chinese Taoist sorcery, so we see that. And what I didn't like was that you didn't have to make it reishi, because this is just a generic bracket fungus, and you could have just used literally any bracket fungus to say that. And the fact that you picked reishi in in particular, and especially picking it, you should have touched on some parts of how it's used, how it the ancient Chinese people might have believed that it could bring longevity, things like that, and there was no mention of it at all. And I didn't think it was very intellectually responsible of her to just omit most of it. But yeah, that's the only part that I really didn't like about the book, and I thought I'd just mention it honestly, because that's what I'm trying to do here. Give honest opinions, even though some of it might sound a bit negative. And anyway, so we've got Defying Gravity, like that song, and Finding Grace, Starflower. This is a beautiful card, and you see the curtains. So star, and not just the physical star, but also the star of the avian world, the star of the plant world, and like the literal star, like a celebrity. Start fresh, chickweed. Be yourself, daisy. Forbidden fruit, apple. And I like that that's the snake from the Adam and Eve mythology. Tap your resources, burdock. And I like how it's a hearth, and it was something about inner fire in the book, so that was a nice message. Sweet violet. You see this locket thing, and inner sanctum. So this is also like a locket that you wear in your heart, so I guess that's the inner sanctum. But it's also reminiscent of in winter, during winter, a lot of people will buy these glass cages where they act as mini greenhouses for their plants, the outdoor plants. So that's that. Let magic in for Vane. Look at that. So you've got the 3 paths to 3 different terrains, all climates, and you've got the stars and the moon here. So beautiful. And this is one of my favorite scents. What needs mending? So you've got comfrey. I really liked that there's this chrysalis and the butterflies. Would have preferred if the plant took center stage instead, but that's fine. Oats. Just be. Distill yourself fine. spoonful of sugar, Mary Poppins reference, and marshmallow. So I never knew that marshmallow was a kind of plant, and I hope it is, because I'm not very familiar with herbology, which is why I bought this book to begin with, to kind of educate myself, which is why I was hoping that it would say more than what it does in the book, like at least a page each on the actual practical uses maybe, but yeah, that's fine. Integration line. I don't know how you pronounce this. Is it Muline? Muline? Oh well. And you've got the integration of heart and mind, yeah. And you've got the moon, and you've got water, plant life, insect life, and a spider in the middle, holding them all together. It's beautiful. Remembrance, rosemary. See, this is what I mean. I would like that there was more of the plant on the image, apart from just this few strands of it. But you know, artistic license, so that's fine. And I really like the red thread of destiny. I'm assuming that's what it is. And yeah, lots of air element. The birds are holding string together, so center and ground, red clover. Love that your heart is being grounded into the four corners. Love the image with the bees and of course the heart. Clear the way. Lovely card. 4 elements and kind of opening this portal, a vortex of energy. Pay attention. Netto. Lovely card as well. Kind of have to pay attention when you're in the wild. You know, as much as we want this idealistic, welcoming kind of natural imagery, nature is still a precarious place for most of us. And yeah, we've always got to watch our backs, and I think that's life as well. You know, we can't just be overly complacent. So love this card. Elderberry, and you've got the triple moon goddess symbol, and yeah, cyclicality. So the moon cycles, and that's another thing. So we've got these images like of the moon phases here, and I thought that it would, you know, feature a bit more in the book. It wasn't, so that was a tiny little bit disappointing, but that's fine. The Ways of Water with White Willow. Another one of my favorite plants, trees, and we've got a few growing where I live, and they're just beautiful. And these feature really heavily in ancient Chinese literature. The Chinese love it as well. You know, in one of the manifestations of the goddess the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, or in Chinese the goddess Guanyin, she's holding on to a willow sprig, and where she's, you know, blesses the world with the water of compassion and knowledge. So yeah, this does have lots of symbology in, you know, throughout the entire world. Ripple outward, self-heal. So this is a plant that I've never heard of before, and so yeah. Light in the darkness, St. John's wort. Love that it's this caged sun. So the sun's kind of, you know, the massive impact of the sun is kind of subdued here to allow for the darkness to thrive. And you can kind of tell that light in the darkness kind of implies that you want the guiding light, but at the same time I do like that darkness is this sanctuary for me. So my Facebook page has got Stygian Sanctuary. Also, do you do that? Because we fall asleep in darkness, we do a lot of rest in darkness, we dim the lights in meditation, so darkness is always a good place for you to rest in. So I do like that the light is subdued here. And Fortitude, Lady's Mantle, and you can see a bit of that long winding road thing that the artist seems to be quite fond of. And you see the I think this is a Persian symbol that wards off evil. I can't remember what it's called. I think it starts with an H, like a Hamza or something like that. So yeah, I will look that up. Pocket of Protection, Yarrow. And I like that the gauntlets, so you kind of that idea of protection, and it's traditionally used to kind of help wounds mend, so I guess that's the protection as well. Heart's Home, Hawthorn. So what's funny is I have a bit of Hawthorn brewing right this second. It's a special recipe that we have at home, and I like that it's grounded in all these worlds, and you're at the center of it. So I guess the symbolism is like you could go anywhere, and as long as you're comfortable in your heart, you'll be at home. Spirit into Matter. I'm not sure how the image shows that trillium, and I'm not sure what's the symbolism behind all the gems. It is in a book about how it's supposed to be this valuable kind of plant, so I guess that's that. But for me, if I draw this card, it's going to be a bit hard to interpret the cards, as with the others, some of the others as well, because I don't have the prior knowledge of herbs, and as much as I do advocate reading intuitively, it's not conducive if you are just doing guesswork, especially when the plants have their actual specific symbolism. So we've got the moon phases here, crack opened, rose, and this might be my favorite card out of all of them, basically because we always pay attention to how roses are this soft, beautiful energy, but we kind of ignore that it's also really thorny. And the sword here, it's amazing that it's reminding us that this is a double-edged sword, and the thorns can prick you just as much as it provides self-defense for the plant. So as much as we love the plant, we still might get hurt by it, and I think that's a lovely lovely energy, lovely symbolism. Lovely. Tough Love, Lavender. This is also quite unique. When we talk about lavender, we always think of this soft, soothing scent that lulls you to sleep, and here we have got this tiger and Tough Love. So it's interesting because when I work with lavender energy, I always envision a flame, like a lavender flame. So it's nice to have someone else feel that way. Lovely. You Are Sacred, Tulsi. So this, you might recognize this from the brand that makes a lot of Indian incense. So I had no idea that it was a plant. I always assumed it was just like an Indian word or name. So learn something new every day. And you can see kind of the Indian goddess image and the home. So it's supposed to be a protection for your home, like a ward of sorts. And I love that it's the home itself. Resurrection, California poppy. And the moon taking up a bit of the owl's head. I love that the owl is clutching the flowers. So I'm not sure how different California poppy is from the other red variety that we use in remembrance of our military predecessors that passed in the Great War. I've always thought the word great shouldn't be used in wars. That's it. Anyway, bit of a digression. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's different. Probably have to look that up as well. But it says resurrection, so I'm assuming that it kind of is the same thing that we use. I don't know. We are one. So this is the Quaking Aspen, which you might know famously as the largest single organism or like plant organism in the world, because the entire forest is basically the offspring of one tree, and they're all intertwined in the roots, and they all share the exact genetic material. So we are one is beautiful. It's a beautiful symbol of oneness. Yeah. So fun fact, because it's genetically identical, there is also this risk that any kind of disease would be able to wipe the entire patch out, because none of them would have the genetic predisposition to have resistances. So that's one of the conservation threats, that conservational threats or concerns that they might have. And that's what happened to some of our banana species as well. As you know, the bananas all have names like Cavendish, and these are indicative of what breed they are, and all the bananas of the Cavendish variety, for example, have the exact genetic material. So I think they're at risk of getting wiped out, or they have been wiped out. So yeah, I guess we are one, and at the same time, we kind of have to embrace our individuality as well, so that we don't just follow the herd in whatever we do. We have to have our individual selves as well, and I think that's beautiful. We're all different, but we all share the same source energy. Create space, raspberry. Like the robin eggs, yeah. Released rigidity, valerian. Love that the cat's tail just turned into that. That's such a tranquil kind of image. Between dreams. So here we've got the dream catcher, mugwort. And it's nice that it's holding a piece of, I think that's a selenite, and the keys and all that. Perseverance, dandelion, exuberant quietude, passion flower. So yeah, I like that. We've got the gems, like the quartzes, I think, on the passion flower, because passion fruits, the flowers of the passion fruit plant, they always have these beautiful vibrant colors. We've got I think a species that looks almost exactly like that growing as a weed in the wilder areas of Singapore. So it's always been one of my favorite plants. You've got all this lush greenery, and then out of nowhere you see this huge violet purple kind of flower popping up, and that's It always makes my day when I see it. So yeah, exuberant quietude. Plus, this is one of my favorite colors. So, and that's rewild. So I guess you're talking about exploration, and you know, there's this map and a hot air balloon, so you could just go out there and explore. So I'm going to do a small reading for myself, like I always do in my videos, because I think it's important to kind of test out the cards as well. So as you could see, there was a bit of issue in shuffling due to the resistance from all these. It's not a big issue, honestly, and yeah. Oh, and you can see how glossy the cards are at the back. All these golden lines kind of glow in the sunlight. And yes, what I don't like about the cards is how flimsy they are. The card stock is quite bad. It's almost like, I don't know, this is maybe like 120 GSM or something. So I'm not a fan of that. I don't think it's, you know, it's very respectful of people who buy it to have frankly crap cardstock. But as I've mentioned, I am someone who uses my cards really gently, so to me that's not going to be an issue. Honestly, I feel like these cards could last me a lifetime. But for people who do other kinds of shuffling, like the riffle shuffles and all that, you might want to, you know, lay off all the more violent kind of shuffling or handling of the cards, just because of how bad the quality is. So, what's my week ahead going to be like? Oh yes, so this is a spread that's included in the book that I thought was quite interesting. I'm going to show that to you later, once I've picked all 4 cards. There we go. Okay. So let me see if I can find it. There we go. So how to work with the Herbiary cards. So we've got the 1 card draw, which I don't believe in. I like a bit of context. So that's the 2 cards, the crossing. So 1 card represents you and the other card represents what's crossing you, so that's interesting. And this is the one I'm doing, the 4 card spread cycle. So I really like that we've got the north, east, south and west in that order. So we've got the root and then the shoot, the flower and the fruit. So that's basically the entire life cycle of the plant. Well, a flowering plant anyway. So yeah, let's see what I've got. First card, Raspberry, create space. And second card, Trillium, spirit into matter. The third card, Inner Sanctum, Sweet Violet. And the last one, Hawthorn, Heart's Home. So this is a lovely spread. What's interesting is I was just in a beautiful meditation / ritual for the 1111 yesterday. Well, it was the 11th of November 2018. So you know, 2018 is 11 as well. So and it had to do with manifestation and, you know, manifesting energies. So this is beautiful, the spirit into matter, so it's manifestation. And we've got create space, which I think I did. Well, I'm always creating space, but yesterday kind of this amazing person who did the ritual, and well, his healing name is, well, his practice name is Ashoka, and I will probably add a link below to his page if you're interested. So he did this, opening of this portal of manifestation energy, and it was lovely. So that's that. And yeah, so we've talked about that, and now the inner sanctum and heart's home. So I think this is a beautiful reading. We've got the creating space, the inner sanctum, and the heart's home. So the cards are telling me to kind of find my center, kind of manifest my center, be comfortable with who I am, and to quote Ashoka, to be aware of being, just being here as a spiritual entity in a physical form. So this is amazing, and yeah, so that's about it for today. For this deck, I will be doing a deck that's really similar. It's called the Magic of Flowers Oracle, and even the color scheme is similar, but this one focuses more on the plants. So I'm gonna just take the cards out just to give a sneak preview and to show you how similar the cards are. So we've got the back of the cards, which are like that in comparison to this. So it is really similar, and we've got the plants as well. So and it's not just a plant, we see other kinds of imagery as well. So this is a really similar deck that I will be doing a review of in the near future. But I've promised a friend, Lucy Cavendish, to do her deck first, and it's one of my favorite oracle decks of all time. So I will be doing that first before I get to the Magic of Flowers Oracle. So that's that for today, and I'm heading out anyway. So have a wonderful week ahead, and I'll see you see you when I see you, probably in a few days, in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye. Do give a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this content. And yeah, I'm rambling right now, so goodbye.